Hi guys, this is Pestily and welcome to another Escape from Tarkov video. This video I'm going to talk about passive skills and leveling them to get to the quest requirements, diminishing returns, some of the tasks that currently require skills to complete them, and timeframes to complete these tasks. I'm going to give a lot of my own personal opinions about this stuff, so it's more opinionated with a lot of facts going behind it, but I thought it'd be a good idea to touch this all in one video so you guys can understand everything that's going on with passive skills at the moment. So guys, without further ado, let's crack straight into it. If you're seeing me move around a lot at the moment, I am using a standing desk, so they might see a bit more movement from me. Now moving into the passive skills, in the game has this whole feeling about how you're meant to mold your own personality via these passive skills. Battlestate games have said in the past that's why it is the way it is. So if you are to shoot a gun more, you'll level up that gun or the recoil control. If you hit targets, then you'll level up that gun skill. All the way to, if you're sprinting more, you'll level up endurance more. Or if you're throwing nades, you'll level up like throwing nades or throwables as well. So there is a bit of personality behind the character skills, and this is why Battlestate Games hasn't gone down the path of if you were to get to a certain level, you get 5 skill points. You can put those skill points in whatever skill you want. They actually want it to be personalized. So there's going to be some players that will have certain strengths and weaknesses based around that. But there was a lot of talk about people wanting to go down that path, but I'm fairly confident, just to squash that right here, I don't think Battlestate Games will go down that path because of that one reason. Now, I want to talk about how diminishing returns work. Diminishing returns at the moment are something that's Battlestate Games implemented to stop people cheesing skills within a raid. Now, last patch, or I feel like about a month or two ago, it was a lot better. It used to be you get 5 or 10 skill points in a raid, maybe a little bit more, and then the diminishing returns would kick in really hard. Right now, it's around the 3 skill point mark is the most amount of skill points you'll get in a raid. I did some testing earlier today just to confirm this. I went into a raid with a heap of ammunition. It was only about 300 rounds. By the time I shot off about 100 rounds, I'd already got, it was about 2 skill points in recoil control. By the time I spent the next 100 rounds, it was already down to like 3% off the diminishing return. So that way, you pretty much couldn't level it from that point. Even if you shot like another 10,000 rounds, it'd be equivalent of shooting like 30, for example. So it wasn't really going to be worth shooting more rounds past that point. I was told that if you waited 5 minutes, the diminishing return would return back to normal and you could actually continue leveling it again. I waited 10 minutes, nothing happened. To confirm that one wasn't true. So right now, the most amount of skill points you can get in a raid is around 3 skill points per skill. I really want to touch on that because you need to understand, like, if you've got a task where you have need to get a high level because of like level 10 charisma, that's required, means you have to loot a lot of items in a raid to level up the charisma to get that skill completed or that task completed. With the diminishing returns, that's actually going to take a really long time. Now, I did a heap of testing on that. I'm not going to go into that right now. I want to touch on something else first, which is the diminishing returns. Now, with that diminishing returns, if you actually just think about it for a minute, if you think about how if you go into a raid, you're only alive for 5 or 10 minutes, you're doing stuff really quickly, you're running, you're shooting, you're doing everything. For example, a factory player that plays very aggressive, a lab player that plays very aggressive, you are going to get a lot more skill points than someone who sticks around a raid longer. Do you understand the whole? It's actually favoring people who do quick, faster raids or die a lot, because that's how you'll get your health skill up, by taking a lot of damage. So if you die a lot or you're playing at a very quick pace and your raids are very short, you're going to gain a lot more skill points. This is a massive flaw. The game is meant to be some sort of whack, realistic, immersive, I don't like the word realistic, immersive, hardcore military sim. There is nothing wrong with playing aggressive. I love all types of play styles. I think it's really cool how Escape from Tarkov caters towards that. But this is an absolute massive flaw, because you can level up 3 skill points quite quickly in a lot of these categories, and then for the rest of if you were in a 45-minute raid, you could probably spend the next 35 minutes, because you did it all in the first 10, getting no skill points. And the person that plays a lot shorter raid style doesn't get the same advantage. A good example is I used to go into Shoreline to level up my search skill. I never did anything cheesy for this. I would just search the entire resort. I'd go in there, I'd try and kill everyone, search every single container, search every pocket, backpack, rig, duffel bag, everything I could search. I'd come out with about 30 or 40 skill points, which would take me about 40 minutes, right? So it's about a skill point per minute. I'd get like nearly half a level, or it was about 30 to 40% of a level, which I thought was pretty fair, and it worked quite well. I was leveling up attention at the same time, charisma, which does absolutely nothing, and that all kind of balances out really nicely. But with the current diminishing returns, it actually is really punishing for someone who wants to go to that effort of actually searching out an entire resort. Now, it's not to say that people shouldn't run longer raids. I just think the information needs to be out there that for now, this is how it is. The dialing of the diminishing returns being so strict is actually quite brutal, and it definitely needs to change. In my opinion, it definitely needs to change. I don't do very many opinionated videos, but I didn't realize how much had been dialed up. Since I started the Zero to Kappa challenge, I actually stopped the challenge because I just didn't want to spend a long time to level up 2 skills, and I'm going to explain that in a minute. So actually, I did try and put together a bit of a speed run to level the passive skills required for the tasks. I'll show you what those tasks are right now. I had left on my Zero to Kappa challenge charisma to get to 10, the stress resistance to get to 8, sniper to 9, health to 10, and search to 9. Now, if I was to get snipers to 9, that would give me the stress resistance level. So that one would be done there. So these two actually weren't going to take too long. It worked out it was going to take me 2 more hours of my run, which I'll explain the run right now, actually. The run was I'd go into factory with a Mosin. I'd be reloading the Mosin non-stop as I run up to the safe room. Once I got to the safe room, I'd loot the safe, the filing cabinet, and the jackets. The 8 drawers of the filing cabinet, the 2 jackets, and the safe, whilst also reloading the Mosin. If I saw a target, I could shoot him, but the objective was to get into that room to do the searches. Then I either blow myself up with a grenade or I die to a player or scav. I did this for 2 hours to test the numbers, and I worked out to get my health skill to level 10, which is only 2 more levels. Like, it's not like it's heaps. It would take me 38 more hours of going in, charging in, deliberately dying. All right, health skills leveled by 3 ways. Leveling up your endurance skill, your strength skill, or your health skill. But it's also got the diminishing returns, right? So if you were to throw a heap of nades and sprint around and then die, it would have the diminishing returns throughout it, which means you would only be capping it at 3 per raid anyway. So just going into a raid and dying would give you somewhere between half a skill point and a full skill point, depending on how much damage you took before you died. So I hope you're catching my drift here. Now with the charisma skill, doing that same method as going through the filing cabinets, looting all the items, and then dying, looting the items levels up your charisma. That would take you a total of 19 hours. Now the stress resistance, the search, and the sniper, that would all be done within 6 hours, so that would be quite sweet. But then from that point onwards, it would literally just be go into a raid, loot items, and die. That is not a rewarding playstyle. Passive skills should, or these tasks here, should be rewarding, not from doing a punishing playstyle. So for example, this really shouldn't say earn level 10. It should really be something like achieve level 10 health skill. To earn it it's earning it by mass death. So the point here, this needs to change. Either this skill here, these tasks, level 8 would be perfectly fine for the health skill. I did this in about 60, I think it was about 61 hours to get every task done in the game, besides these 5 passives. And then I spent 2 or 3 hours just throwing myself in. Don't even look at this online time. That's the total online time for the account. This account, that's how long since I've reset the account, 7 days. But I haven't played this account in 2 days. So it was 5, on the 5th day, 4 hours in, I got all the tasks done. So yeah, so I think my recommendation is if there was changes, I think search, sniper, and stress resistance could be left alone. They don't need to be touched at all. Charisma could be level 8 or 9, but health skill needs to be level 8. Even with them saying that they fixed the current, Apple Day keeps the doctor away, it's just currently not. It's not rewarding. I don't think it's like those tasks should be rewarding people who are playing the game and doing something that was actually like an achievement, not just going in and dying. I don't understand how that task is anything good at all. I'm going to stop talking about it because it's actually just agitates me how annoying that task is. So now that I've touched on the timeframes to complete those tasks and what's required, I'm going to finish up this video here. I wanted to try and keep it as short and sweet as possible. Hopefully I haven't waffled on too much, but I hope you're getting the point that at the moment there is an absolute issue with the diminishing returns on skills. the play styles that reward leveling up your skills faster, and pretty much that's the summary of it. Hopefully this was very informative. I've put these notes down and I'm sending them straight to Battlestate Games as well to hopefully get some changes there. If I was to say where I would think that Diminishing Returns should really kick in, if they want to do it, I would say somewhere around half a level per raid. This still does give the opportunity for someone to go in a raid and deliberately level a skill. But the thing about that is, there's no problem with someone going into a raid, in my opinion, and going, hey, I'm going to level up my fishing skill, like you would in World of Warcraft, right? If Tarkov had fishing, if you were to go down there and start casting a line in and leveling up your fishing skill, that should work, right? And it's the same in Escape from Tarkov. If you want to get better at using assault rifles, you should be able to go in there and shoot as many targets with your assault rifles as possible. It shouldn't be just like, oh, I've hit that guy 30 times, done. My assault rifle skill is capped out for this raid. Like, I don't really agree with it. Let me know your thoughts down below. This is a different type of video for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for future content. I do stream on Twitch every day of the week, so go down the link below. Give me a follow there. Got any Tarkov questions? Feel free to hit me up on my live stream or down in the comments below. And lastly, I'll see you next time. Don't you know, pump it up. You got to pump it up. Don't you know, pump it. And then the diminishing returns would kick